This story begins with our protagonist, whose name is Xiao Tian, being the ace of a group of assassins. The ace of the assassin group, however, he is currently cornered by a group of attackers who begin to attack him, causing him to explode. The scene changes and we see a beautiful woman trying to call for help. A woman trying to summon a spirit from another world to be her servant accidentally summons our protagonist. Xiao Tian was confused. Just a few minutes ago, he had been cornered, but he suddenly found himself in an unknown place. The woman, whose name is Syrian, is disappointed, for she has summoned an ordinary guy without any disposables. On the other hand, Xiao Tian is mesmerized by the beautiful Zhaoiner after looking at her for a while. Our hero asks why he is here, and she introduces herself as the Empress of the Flame Dynasty, who informs him that he is the representative of that dynasty from this day forward. From this day forward, he is the husband of the Empress of this dynasty. She began to explain again that she was the Empress of the Flame Dynasty, but her power was not stable. Her subjects offer to marry her, but she doesn't want to be threatened. So she summoned our protagonists to protect her from their protests. The protagonist interrupts her and asks if it's true that he doesn't have to do anything but be her shield. He invites her to the bed to start right away, but she apologizes to him and tells him that she can't be his wife, but she can promise him a carefree life, no worries, no problems. A life without worries and luxuries, and will figure out what to do with the contract ring. She asks him to follow her to the imperial office as soon as she leaves. Once she leaves, our hero quickly realizes that she is the dominant woman and the ring is contracted. Belongs to the one summoned by the summoning spell, and its wielder can do no harm to the summoner. While traveling between dimensions, our hero also got a system. The system asks him if he wants to activate the strongest supreme system, and prompts him to choose between yes and no. Our hero decides to choose no because he was an orphan, adopted from an early age by a group of assassins, and to survive he needed to constantly get stronger, killing, pointlessly completing tasks, but now he can't imagine anything better than being a carefree prince. The system tries to leave our protagonist's body, but to no avail, because now our hero is an ultra-high-dimensional Earth creature. After failing 9,999 times, the system asks our protagonist if it can be its master-slave authorized auxiliary system. The system again asks our protagonist to choose yes or no, and this time our protagonist decides to choose yes. The system asks our protagonist to give it a name, and our protagonist calls it Wantle. Later the system suggests that our protagonist learn to control his breathing as soon as possible to avoid unnecessary consequences. If he can't control his breathing he might accidentally erase Wonker's existence, so our hero decides to suppress it, and after that he feels that he has become stronger. He asks Swampkal what is he like now, is he weak or strong? The system explains that our hero came from a super high dimension with strict celestial rules. He was under the suppression of 490k rules, but now that he's hit this low dimensional plane with fewer rules, his body is eager to absorb them. His body greedily absorbs the power between heaven and earth to strengthen itself. Normal pressure on Earth is 490,000 rules, so our hero asks about the pressure in this world, and it turned out to be 3k. Hearing this, our hero was so surprised that he spilled his tea. Surprised, he spilled tea from his mouth, accidentally making a hole in the roof of his room. He asked for an assessment of its current state despite the limited capabilities of the system. As a result, it turns out that our hero is an ultra-high dimensional creature determined to test his mettle. Our hero goes to the martial arts arena, where he effortlessly breaks the sword just by touching it. Later, Wankal tells our heroes that there are 9 classes of spiritual power and weapons, each of which is further subdivided into lower, middle, upper, and extreme classes. The sword that the protagonist just broke is the ultimate spiritual weapon of the 6th order. Undeterred, the hero decides to try another sword, but ends up breaking it just by taking it in his hand. Frustrated, he puts the sword down and decides not to touch it again. The next morning, the hero wakes up and sees Zhaoiner sleeping next to him. Shocked, he asks her what happened the day before and if he's dirty now. Still sleepy, quickly picks himself up and explains that she needed to come to her senses. Syria, still sleepy, quickly comes to her senses and explains that she needed to sleep with him, near him, to avoid rumors and gossip. It is said that on the wedding night, couples who sleep in different beds are often criticized. She assures him that she will only come occasionally in the future, and apologizes for calling him here for her own benefit. Later that evening, we see Zorion talking to his general Jean Lee Swan about the situation in the north. General Zhang informs Syrian of the barbarians' frequent movements and expresses concern that someone may be manipulating them behind the scenes. The holy teacher of the barbarians has left the royal court, and the wrath of Surin decides to personally deal with the matter. 3 days later, they are ready to leave. Zarim checks with General Zhang to see if everything is ready, and the general informs her that her daughter Linger is secretly spying on the royal court. The general informs her that her daughter Linger is secretly spying on our hero. The general asks Zurian why she is so concerned about our hero, who is considered a useless man. Syrian explains that after marrying our protagonist, the luck of the Great Jian dynasty has become more stable, and even her own power has grown. They travel to the northern region, unaware that someone is watching them from afar. Meanwhile, Zhao Linga, also known as Blondie. Now she is upset that her mother has abandoned her to secretly protect the scavenger prince who has fled to the mountains for his own. Instead of accompanying Zurian to fight for the country while she ponders this, our protagonist is suddenly kidnapped by someone. After searching for the protagonist, Zhao Ling arrives at the place where he was kidnapped, but she doesn't realize that it's not our protagonist, but his clone. She gets trapped and finds herself trapped in a spirit chain cage that is 6 orders of blocky. Wait, you mean she's 16? How can she be 16? Look at her man. I need an explanation. In the next scene they take to a cave where one of the men gives our hero some water and asks him to use it in the Empress martial arts. To use her in the Empress martial arts arena, our hero agrees, but Linger begins to slander him. He ignores her and asks the man if he can leave with Linger if he explains the situation to him. He also mentions that he wants to get even with the blonde who seems to be causing trouble. However, our hero disagrees with him. He says that if she doesn't go with him, he will die anyway. He says that if she doesn't go with him, he's going to die anyway, so he might as well die here, including that a man attacked our hero from behind and was surprised that he was so relaxed, and the man grabbed our hero by the hair, the thing our hero hates the most, and in a rage kills him. After creating a large hole in the cave, he then proceeds to kill all the other men, leaving only the leader alive. The protagonist tells him that he cooperated with him and just wanted to get out of the peaceful life. The man begs for his life, but our hero kills him anyway, after which our hero approaches the underage girl. He runs up to an underage girl who assumes he wants to hurt her as well, so she begs him to kill her. However, he lets her go and tells her to stay put, but he goes to get rid of the corpse and leaves, and after a while she sees something jumping around, but unfortunately it's not the prince she was hoping for, it's just a mountain. Somehow bouncing, she realizes that a mountain shouldn't be able to jump. And then she realizes it's our main character holding a mountain in his hand. The protagonist places the mountain next to her and asks her not to mention what she has just witnessed. He says that when the gods come he will claim she saved him. She promises to keep quiet. While they are talking, the female guards come in and ask about the kidnappers who took our heroes. The blonde informs them that she's already decapitated all the kidnappers, so there's nothing to worry about. Our hero expresses a desire to get back to eating barbecue, but one of them denies his request. One of Lu Yen's guards refuses his request, saying that the place is no longer safe. But our hero replies that it doesn't matter anymore, because the little girl has already killed all the thieves. The little girl has already killed all the thieves. All the female guards expect their major general. The general beats our hero to death for calling her a little girl, but the girl calmly follows him. The protagonist without saying a word, and all the female guards were overwhelmed by the good temper of their major general. On his return to the place, a little girl happily serves our hero, and the women guards are surprised and think their major general is broken. Our hero asks the girl if she knows the kidnappers. She knows the kidnappers because they seemed familiar to her. Liancho, who used to be a gang leader in Yalongzai. It was a test arranged by her mother before she came of age. Someone who should have been put on display a year ago suddenly became an assassin in the Tower of the Blood Cloud. Later, our protagonist overhears a conversation between the female guards and learns that more people are expected to arrive within 7 days. Lu Yen advises our hero to stay in the palace for a while, as it is a strong and safe place. The hero quickly agrees, as he wants to avoid conflict and just live like a carefree prince. While the guards think the hero is afraid of death, he heads into the courtyard. Some of the female guards start whispering behind their backs, but our hero ignores them and tells the girl that he overheard the guards talking. He tells the girl that he overheard the guards talking about how the Blood Cloud Tower will bring trouble to the common people and the Empress will be in trouble. He asks the girl to elaborate, and she begins to explain that when their missions fail, the blood-creating assassins start slaughtering people and extorting protection fees from the Yen dynasty government. She goes on to explain that there are corrupt officials in the court who favor certain wealthy families. Some rich families, these officials come to the Blood Cloud Tower to offer a reward in exchange for protection as the court protects these corrupt people. The blood-building killers have no choice but to resort to mass murdering people to force their hand. Mass murdering people to force the court to comply with their demands, screaming that perhaps the other side or organization can afford to pay for the defense. The organization can afford to pay for the protection of the Tower of the Blood Cloud, which would result in the mission being cancelled. However, the money paid by a local rich family to corrupt officials will not be returned. As a result, the rich family will be taken advantage of from both sides. And here our protagonist is worried that if his wife finds out about his power, she will ask him to take care of business. Then after some time of reflection, our protagonist starts to fear divorce. The protagonist is afraid of divorce and decides to kill everyone in the Blood Cloud building. He's too afraid of divorce, but his wife is certainly a beauty. What if she says something like this? "You're such a good boy." Anyway, they enter the forest and the girl tells our hero that she doesn't know where the Blood Cloud building is. But our hero is confident that he can find it and assess whether the place is safe or not. After making sure the place is safe, he picks up the girl and jumps like the Hulk. After a while, Walk warns our protagonist to slow down the speed of the fight because the little girl's body has already reached a critical point. Our protagonist arrives at the location and realizes that the place is covered by an invisible shield. So our hero destroys the shield with a powerful blow and discovers that it was a flying branch building. No wonder the Empress couldn't locate the building as it was in the sky. They land in front of a building, and the girl asks if they are going to sneak in or do something else. But our hero quickly enters the building. Inside, the girl asks our hero how he got there and who he is. But our hero is not interested in answering her, and he starts killing everyone in the building. The girl was very struck. As our hero kills everyone, more people arrive at the building than the last time we saw our hero. The last time we saw our hero, more people were arriving in the building to kill him, but with one powerful blow he easily defeated them all, leaving a trail of destruction and holes behind him. Once he had defeated all his enemies, he took our little companion outside. When they reached the open space, he broke through the wall of the next room, discovering the hidden treasure inside. Decided to take some of the valuable booty as compensation for the trouble he had to endure. Amidst the treasures, our heroes came across a precious 7th level protective talisman. Realizing the urgency of the situation and the distance to be covered to reach the headquarters of the Tower of Blood Cloud, our hero quickly made a decision. He decided to use the talisman on the girl to strengthen her defenses, as he was afraid that his flying speed might be too much for her. The talisman was placed on the girl to strengthen her defenses, as he feared his flying speed might be too much for her delicate body. Hefting the girl onto their shoulder, they soared into the sky, heading towards the Blood Cloud Tower. However, even with a 7th order protective talisman, our protagonist's incredible speed was too great. When they arrived at the headquarters of the Blood Cloud building, they were immediately surrounded by guards, including Yun Zonglai, the owner of the Blood Cloud building, as well as the 7th order defense talisman. From the top of the building, a man named Yun Zonglai, who was the owner of the Blood Cloud building and a famous assassin king of the Southern Desolate Territory, appeared. Our hero couldn't contain his curiosity and asked Yun Zonglai why the Blood Cloud Tower was so interested in the Great Flame Dynasty, to which the latter was surprised. Yun Zonglai revealed that while he was initially interested in the Flame Dynasty, he was now more intrigued by our heroes who came to visit him. While he was originally interested in the Flame Dynasty, he was more intrigued by our heroes who knocked on their door during a relatively weak period and even managed to break through their defenses. He then ordered his men to massacre our heroes, but one man among them stepped forward and claimed he could handle our heroes alone. The girl accompanying the protagonist said that this person was most likely the deputy owner of the Blood Cloud building. A man approached our hero and started mocking him for his small and pretty face, likening him to a girl. However, our hero, not the least bit embarrassed, asked the man to hit him right in the head. This infuriated the man, who thought our hero was laughing at him, and he tried to hit the hero. Attempted to hit the protagonist with all his might, but the protagonist easily blocked the blow with one finger. The man tries to hit the protagonist again with all his might, but hits himself. The man then admitted that the intelligence department had gathered incorrect information about the protagonist, and he was self-defeated. And he was shocked by our hero's strength, realizing that time was running out. Realizing that time was running out before dinner, our hero decided to destroy all of Yoon Sunlai's men. He launched a furious attack on them, but they quickly realized they were out of their depth and tried to escape to pass on the information. However, our heroes quickly caught up with them to relay information about our protagonist's true power, and defeated them all. The man who had previously beaten himself trying to strike the protagonist was shocked and eventually fainted after seeing the incredible speed and skill of our heroes. The girl Ji Yu-young, who had come out of the headquarters earlier, begged the protagonist to spare her life and offered to serve by his side. She was known as a heart eater, skilled at seducing men with her beauty and tenderness until they became victims. But our hero, faithful to his wife, did not give in to her temptation. He sternly warned her not to try to seduce him, as it might lead to misunderstandings with his empress wife and possibly to divorce. Recognizing her sinister intentions, our protagonist decided to kill Ju Yen. Despite his desire to act decisively, our hero refrained from speaking too harshly because he feared he would be misunderstood. He asked the girl to witness his actions so she could make sure he was misunderstood. He asked the girl to witness his actions so that she could vouch for his intentions to guard the empress as precious jade in case his actions were revealed. The scene then cuts to Yoon Sunlai, who is hiding under the bed in fear of our hero. He believes that the Yen dynasty holds a great secret, which is why our hero is so strong. He recalls the written records he found in the ruins, which reveal an ancient connection between the Great Yen Empire and the Great Dynasty. The Great Yen Empire and the Great Yen Dynasty. Yoon Sunlai is aware of this and hears a noise after a while. Yoon Sunlai hears the noise and assumes our hero is gone, so he cautiously crawls out from under the bed. However, he was shocked to find that our heroes had been waiting for him all this time, which made him scared. Our hero tries to approach him, but he escapes by blowing up the room. He thought he had escaped. However, our hero appears out of nowhere and grabs him by the neck. He takes him to the little girl. The little girl is shocked to learn that the owner of the Blood Cloud building and king of the assassins in the southern deserted territory hid from our heroes under the bed, and how our hero found him is very simple. He heard the sound of blood pouring. Our hero interrogates Yoon Sunlai about his motives. But despite Yoon Sunlai's offer to exchange information for the mercy of his life, but Tepper, our protagonist, is not interested in this information, so he ends up killing him. Our protagonist has destroyed the entire Blood Cloud building and returns carrying his little girl in his arms. They catch up with the female guards and Lewin gets worried and expresses her concern about the little girl's reckless behavior with the prince since the Blood Cloud people have been acting recklessly for a long time. Lu Yen is worried since her fiancé died while fighting the people from the Blood Cloud building some time ago, and she remembers him with tears in her eyes. On the other hand, one of the guards asks our hero how he manages to stay on his feet so well, how he keeps his cool. The sound of blood pouring out, heard Yoon Sunlai and the little girl talking, responds that he feels he has just accomplished something meaningful and rests in peace. The next day, the girl dresses up to meet our protagonist, but her father John Yangming stops her. When he learns that she is going to the palace, he tells her that she shouldn't go to the palace because it is guarded, and rumors have reached him that he doesn't want to go to the palace. And rumors reach him that the prince is greedy for pleasure. Despite her father's warnings, the girl ignores him and goes to the palace. Jun Yangming was confused because yesterday she had complained that her mother had hired her for a bad job. Our protagonist is enjoying life on him because the empress personally went to fight in the front lines, and he is here only for pleasure. The little girl's appearance surprises Lewin and the other guards when our hero asks why she has come. The girl replies that she is here to protect him and fulfill her duties. However, our hero doesn't need her protection and asks her to stay put and not participate in the fun. Liu Ying once again thought that the major general would beat her to death, but it was quite the opposite. She obeyed his order. Now a proud daughter of heaven, her major general is also enchanted by this handsome prince. After a while, Lewin receives news of the Blood Cloud Tower and shares it with the little girl, expecting her to be surprised, but the girl doesn't react in any way. Lu Yen and the others were puzzled by the lack of surprise, but the girl quickly realized that she needed to feign surprise. She had to feign surprise to cover up the truth that our protagonist was responsible for the destruction in the Blood Cloud Tower's setup, so she started to act out the scene, but our protagonist, who was observing the situation, decided she was too fake. Our protagonist, who was observing the situation, decided it was too fake. worried about the possible retaliation from the Blood Cloud Tower's headquarters, especially because the Empress had personally gone on a campaign, and the Southern Wasteland Assassin King could attack the Yen dynasty. The girl laughed as she remembered that Yun Zonglai, the owner of the Blood Cloud building and the famous Assassin King of the Southern Wasteland, couldn't help but attack the Yen dynasty. The Killer King of the Southern Wasteland was hiding under the bed in fear of our protagonist. Lu Yen was again puzzled as to why she was laughing instead of worrying, and wanted to go to northern Xinjiang to report the situation to General Jean Li Swan. Lu Yen asked her why she was laughing, and the girl was about to tell the truth when suddenly our protagonist appeared and hit her from behind, then began to lecture her on her behavior. Later, our hero assured Lu Yen that she didn't need to worry about the girl as he would take care of her. He told Lu Yen that she could go as she had some other things to do. Our hero decided to take the girl with him, much to the surprise of Lu Yen's guards, who thought her major general had fallen. Lu Yen decided to write a letter to General Zhang and inform her father. The girl tells our main character that she will never do it again, but our heroes can't believe her. She bows her head and raises her nose to apologize and asks him to make her his apprentice because she wants to be as strong as him, but our protagonist revealed that he actually was. But she didn't believe him. Despite this, our heroes left without further explanation. Half a month later on Mount Chinian, while our hero was enjoying a delicious boar's meat, Luan received a news that the entire Blood Cloud building has been completely destroyed by a mysterious strong man. She realized that she had been worrying about nothing for the past half a month, as the person who had destroyed the Blood Cloud building had been completely destroyed. In the next episode, Lu Yen was avenged for her fiancé. Seeing her thank the one who destroyed the building of the Bloody Cloud, not realizing it was our main character, who was listening to her from behind a tree, he greeted her with a smile. As the story continues on the other side, a new plot unfolds where a master and his apprentice arrive at the site where the Blood Cloud building was destroyed. They exchanged a few barbs and then decided to head towards the Yen dynasty, seeing that this is a great opportunity as Syria is busy on the northern battlefield. The first destination is Chia Mountain, where our protagonist is now located. Meanwhile, on the northern battlefield, the Empress and her general are preparing for battle when a guard arrives and delivers 2 letters that Lu Yen has sent. Learns of the destruction of the Blood Cloud building by a strong man, but it is the second letter that infuriates her. The Empress decides to read it, and the letter says that the Major General has fallen in love with Xiao Tian's masculinity and dresses carefully every day to meet him. The main character's wife finds this hard to believe, as she had not noticed his charm before. However, she recognizes that he is very handsome, but believes that no matter how handsome he is, he cannot do. When we last witnessed the barbarians attacking the Empress, she decided to take matters into her own hands and confront the manipulator behind the barbarians. During the ensuing battle, the cunning old man managed to trap the Empress in an attempt to enrage her, but she showed remarkable composure by resorting to meditation. Meanwhile, our protagonist, endowed with an incredibly strong physique that allows him to return to calm. Possessing an incredibly strong physique that requires him to constantly feed to maintain energy, indulges in a leisurely meal, slowly eating his dinner, oblivious to the chaos unfolding around him. It was only when he noticed Luan's absence that our protagonist became alarmed, making him wary. The protagonist became alarmed and inquired about her whereabouts from a little girl, who informed him that Lu Yen had left. Lu Yen went to another city to buy wine for her prince. Decided to go on a dangerous journey to Chinian City accompanied by a girl. Before leaving, he made sure to warn the guards to listen and wait for Lu Yang in case they missed each other. Upon reaching Chinian City, Lu Yang immediately fell into the hands of the ruthless master Xian Yuanbai and his disciple Jiyu Hongmao. We have encountered before, even though Lu Yen put up a valiant resistance, Yen was considerably inferior to her abusers and was on the verge of being killed by Jiyu Hongmao. But in time, our protagonist arrived and dealt a crushing blow to Jiyu Homa. Lu Yen was surprised to see him beside her and puzzled that Jiyu Hongmao didn't want to kill her. However, before she could gather her thoughts, our protagonist ordered the girl to eliminate Bu Hongmao. Eliminate Bu Hongmao, ending the bitter confrontation as the girl engaged in a fierce battle with Jiyu Hongmao. When the girl got into a fierce fight with Jiyu Hongmao, our hero sprang into action and quickly handed Luan some healing pills he had acquired. After receiving the pills, Lu Yen warned our heroes of the grave danger posed by the menacing old man, urging them to flee. Despite his immense strength, the old man appeared to be on par with the girl and Luan. However, he couldn't help but worry about the girl who was only at the 3rd level and thus seemed incapable. And so she seemed unprepared to face such a formidable opponent. Liyuan, who had been watching him, was hesitant to reveal her true powers to him for fear that she might denounce him. Suddenly, the girl emerged from the battle defeating Guhong Mao, but her triumph was short-lived as she denounced him to the Empress. Her triumph was short-lived as the old man quickly launched a deadly attack using poisonous snakes. To everyone's surprise, the girl easily dodged the attack, and the old man took advantage of the moment and began to taunt our hero. The old man taunted our hero, mocking his uselessness and attributing his victory solely to his looks. The protagonist begins to feign fear and trepidation, saying that he has heard of the old man's terrible reputation and is afraid of him. He offered to trade the Empress' secret for his life, but on the condition that both girls are allowed to go free. Unfortunately, Luyen refused to follow his plan, stating that her duty was to protect the prince, not run away from danger. Without giving up hope, our heroes convinced Luyen to stick to her script, but the old man had already read her mind and warned her that they couldn't be free. But the old man had already read her thoughts and warned her that they had no choice but to reveal the secret, or else they would be certain death. Despite her misgivings, the girl was determined that the old man's life was in danger, not theirs. With a sly smirk, our protagonist finally shed the guise of helplessness and revealed his true power. The old man, stunned by our hero's sudden display of strength, stumbled and fell to the ground in shock. Our heroes approached him, his eyes blazing with rage, started slapping him mercilessly. A little girl watching this spectacle from afar marveled at the incredible strength of our hero and vowed never to cross him. When the dust settled, the girl turned to Lu Ying and admitted that her prince was indeed a force to be reckoned with. She warned Lu Ying not to say a word about this meeting to the Empress as it could have serious consequences. She also revealed that the mysterious strong man who had single-handedly destroyed the infamous Blood Cloud Tower was very strong. Suddenly, the old man showed his true colors and created a deadly poison. Suddenly, the old man revealed his true colors and created a deadly poisonous swamp to trap our hero. At the same time, he warned that the poison would spread faster as a result of the fight, and even a Saint Realm level 10 person wouldn't be able to resist it. The old man and his disciples watched in horror as he sank deeper and deeper into the poisonous swamp, but to their surprise, even the poisonous swamp was no match for him. The poison swamp couldn't match our hero's otherworldly powers. Our hero wanted to test whether the poison swamp was really that powerful. The poison swamp is really that powerful, and with a sly smile, he grabbed Guhong Mao and threw him into the swamp, as a result of which he was swallowed up in a murky death. He took some of the poison and applied it to his face, asking the girl if it made his skin whiter or softer. When the old man's defeat seemed imminent, our heroes approached him, intending to strike the final blow. But before he could deliver the final blow, the old man decided to kill himself. The girl advised the old man to get rid of the corpse and destroy the poisonous swamp, and he obediently agreed. Using his immense power, he destroyed not only the swamp, but also the 2 mountains that were accidentally broken during the battle. As he looked at the smoking ruins of the battlefield, our heroes couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction, and our hero left, asking Lu Ying to take care of Xinying City and bring some wine soon after he left. Xinjiang City's defense forces arrived at the site and were shocked to see that the mountain was gone. However, Lu Yan reassured them and told them that all the problems had been solved. In the next scene, we see all 3 heading to the palace, but she refused as she wanted to attend the dinner at the palace. She finally agreed to stay in the house, and our hero playfully stroked her head. Suddenly the Major General's father arrived and accused our hero of being unworthy of the Empress, and how could he do so, being the husband of the Empress? However, Lu Yan defended our hero and told Mr. Jun that they were both innocent. She asked how he could speak filthy words about the prince, and was angry with him for such an accusation. Mr. Jun assumed that she too had fallen in love with our hero's masculinity. They pretended to be angry with him and left, but after a while they returned and the scene changed to the next scene. In the next scene, we see them all enjoying dinner together. Mr. Jones apologized to our main character and asked if he had anything to say. Our heroes wanted to ask him for a favor. He wanted to ask him for a favor. He wanted to eat the food he cooked every day because his skills were too good. Mr. Jones at first hesitated to comply with our hero's requests, because he was a high-ranking servant of the household department and could not be a cook for only one person, but finally agreed when he learned that our hero can cook. However, he finally agreed when he learned that our heroes would personally donate 1,000,000 spirit stones to the household ministry. Mr. Jones asked our heroes if there would be spirit stones. We explained that the spirit stones had gotten to him from a man he had accidentally offended. Despite this, Mr. Zhang accepted the spirit stones and agreed to cook a meal for our heroes. In addition, Mr. Jones was commanded not to tell the Empress that it was our hero who gave the spirit stones. Subsequently, our hero gave Mr. Zhang some advice, and 3 days after their meeting, the Empress was able to escape the trap while in the northern battlefield. She obtained rank 9 and entered the sacred realm, which allowed her to attack and kill all the barbarians, but the old man was able to escape her attack. After learning that Zhang Yuan was heading to Xinyang City, the Empress was worried because the old man was 8th level and was one of the 6th evil spirits. She knew that he was too strong, but she didn't know that he had committed a crime. But I didn't know he committed suicide after seeing our hero's abilities. After a while, when they reached their destination, the general was shocked. The general was shocked to see that the mountains were gone. The Empress quickly realized that someone had probably smashed the mountain. With one blow and turned it into dust and mist. The Empress was interested in Xinyang City and decided to find Lu Ying since she had received information that Lu Ying was involved in the old man's case. And she figured she could get some valuable information from her on her way into town. On her way to Lu Yen's house, the Empress encountered the protagonist Lu Yen and a little girl. While our hero and his group were enjoying their date, he suddenly realized that a powerful presence was approaching him. To his surprise, he found a powerful presence approaching him. General Zheng, angry at the girl for her act, lashed out at her and accused her of being too insolent. The little girl was confused and scared, not understanding why her mother was angry with her. Lu Yen intervened and explained that she misunderstood the relationship between our heroes and the girl, and wrote a letter to the general before General Zheng approached the girl. General Zheng approached the girl and she hid behind our heroes' backs for safety, but the general was also angry at our hero. So the girl stopped her from attacking him. Soon a crowd had gathered, wondering what was going on. That they were just acquaintances and should not be nervous. And after a while our hero began to drool over the beauty and sexy figure of his wife, which attracted the attention of the Empress. She asked him how he had gotten so close to the people of Xinyang City, but he didn't answer, leaving her puzzled. In the next scene, they all take a return trip together, and on the way, the protagonist tells how he has become close to the people of Xinyang City. He also apologized to his wife for being a useless prince and using her name in the matter. But his wife replied that he was not a useless prince, and asked him to tell her that if anyone ever called him useless again, she would tell him that he was not. If anyone calls him useless again, she will kill him with her sword, and our main characters became happy at her words. They all decided to go to the general's house for dinner, but before they arrived, the main character noticed that his wife had gotten stronger. Noticing that his wife's strength had increased, he asked Wang Kai about his wife's condition and was amazed. He asked Wang Kai about his wife's condition and was surprised to learn that she had only gone to solve the problem of the war in the north but had already entered the 9th level realm. When they reached the general's house, they were greeted by the delightful smell of food and the general's joy at being happy, and the generalist's joy at seeing her husband begin to cook. However, on entering the house they found that he was on the spot. However, upon entering the house, they recognized what he was preparing for the prince. Mr. Jones was surprised to see everyone present, and greeted the Empress before going inside. Greeted the Empress and then went inside to fetch more bowls and chopsticks for the others during dinner. Mr. John praised the protagonist's talent. Mr. John praised the protagonist's talent in front of the Empress, who asked him why he called himself a useless man if he had so many talents. On the other side of the table, the protagonist didn't know how to answer the question and was afraid that if he couldn't answer the Empress' question, he didn't know how to answer that question, and he was afraid that if the Empress found out, she would make him work for her every day. The Empress confirmed to the protagonist that she had promised him a life of prosperity, wealth and power, with no worries about food or clothing. She assured him that he could become a relative of the idol king. Later, they asked Lion about Xian Yuanbai, and she informed them that someone had destroyed him and the mountains in one blow. Moreover, the culprit had also destroyed Blood Cloud's headquarters, killing all of its members and leaving only Ying's name behind. The Empress asked if she plans to go to court with the protagonist in the future, to which the Empress replied that she would, but this hour she needs to protect our heroine a little for the court. She needs to go to court because according to the rules of the Great Yan dynasty, when the Empress marries, she must meet the ministers at court with the prince, in other words, to see the house of relatives.